It's a tough loss. We're all going to feel this tonight, but we're all proud of our group and how they fight. They battle to the end, and we made our adjustments. We responded in the right way. We just came up short.
The dejected voice of Pels head coach Willie Green. Not much defending what has happened to this team. You had everything in front of you, and your inability to walk through the open door is maddening. You had a 6-game homestand. You went 1-5. You go on the road. You do what needed to be done. You set yourself up for a 1-game win, and you're in. Avoid the play-in, and you gag at home against the Lakers. Now you're in the play-in against the Lakers, and you come out really strong, and you're up double digits, and then you just absolutely go ice cold in the second quarter. You're trailing double digits at half. You try to dig yourself out of the hole in the second half, give yourself a chance late, but BI's on the bench. Zion gets hurt, and you end up losing to the Lakers. Now LeBron and the Lakers are in, and you're playing against Sacramento Friday for your life. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I did sit here yesterday at this very moment and tell you the best-case scenario, obviously, was for the Pelicans to lose to the Lakers, play the Kings, who they've dominated this year, 5-0 against the Kings this season, on your home floor. And if you're in, you get to play OKC as opposed to being the 7 seed where you play Denver, where your playoff life would be short-lived. So, yes, there is obviously that component of it, but it doesn't make watching last night or what's happened over the last 2 weeks any easier to stomach, because this is a team that, after making the play-in 2 years ago without Zion and winning the play-in and getting into the tournament, even though you lost to Phoenix, the feeling last year was, okay, build on it. Well, then you basically don't have Zion for the whole year last year, and you missed the playoffs altogether. You have Z, and now you're thinking, all right, take that step. Avoid the play-in. Yet here you are in the final game of the play-in, fighting for your life on your home floor against Sacramento. And to add a swift kick to the nuts on top of everything that's already happened, Woj had this report just a bit ago.
Devastating news for this New Orleans Pelicans team. I'm told that Zion Williamson is out for Friday's play-in elimination game against the Sacramento Kings. He had some imaging done today on that left hamstring that caused him to leave in the final minutes of a loss to the Lakers, where Williamson had perhaps his most compelling game as an NBA player. He is out not only Friday for that play-in game, but even if the Pelicans were to beat Sacramento, I'm told that he'll be reevaluated in the weeks to come.
Weeks to come. So it's unlikely that even if you do advance to take on Oklahoma City, you'll be playing without Zion. I mean, how about just toying with your emotions? Do you realize Zion had 40 and 10 against the Lakers on Tuesday night? That was Zion's first playoff game, or I guess post-regular. He's not really in the playoff. Playing first game past the regular season of his career. And that was his first 40 and 10 game of his career. First time in his career, he had 40 and 10. It was 11, but his first 40 and 10 game of his entire career. It came in his first postseason action. And in the final 3 minutes of that game, 3:13 to be exact, Zion's not on the floor. He's in the locker room with a hamstring injury. After playing a career-high 71 games this year, living up to so much of the promise that a lot of us had for him when he was drafted number 1 overall, what an absolute gut punch. A poke in the eye, a swift kick in the gonads, the nether region. What an awful experience of fandom last night was. That has to be what it's like to be a fan. Like, what is an awful franchise that just always expects the worst? Like the Cleveland Browns? That has to be what it's that's what it's reminiscent of. Like, when you're the fan of a franchise that just always expects the absolute worst thing to happen to your team, whatever franchise that is. Historically, like the Detroit Lions, when you just know it's not going to go well for you, that's the Pelicans. That's what they are now. And they'll tease you with promise and hope. 2 years ago, when they got CJ at the trade deadline and they went on that run, and we're all thinking, man, you're getting Z back next year, going to build upon this. They got a shot, and then they come back, right? Like yet last year at the, they're approaching the halfway point. 1 point they beat Denver, and they're in the 1 seed at one point, and you're thinking, this is it. It's finally culminating, and now here we are a year and a half after that, just completely dejected and devastated without any real feeling of optimism. I know this is a turd in the punch bowl. It's a fart in church. It's nothing anybody wants to hear today. It's like you usually want some energy and some optimism. I have nothing for you today. I have nothing. I have zero good to tell you. Here's this. I did write this down. The Pels have played Sacramento 5 times this year. Zion played in 4 of those 5. Here were his stat lines: 26-3, 25-5, 10-6, 31-7. Zion played in 4 of the 5 games against Sacramento. Of course, you're 5-0 against the Kings this year. The one game that Z didn't play against Sacramento was on January 7th. That was at Sacramento, by the way, and you won it 133-100. You led by 50 in that game. CJ McCollum had 30. So there's your optimism, is the fact that even without Z, you've owned this team. They don't have Malik Monk. You should win the game on Friday on your home floor, even without Zion. If you have a pulse and any amount of pride, maybe you show up, you play hard, and you beat a team that you've just owned all year. And you should. And then you get into the playoffs against OKC, and you'll see if you can figure out how to go win a best-of-7 without Zion. But I got news for you. The Pels have had to try to figure out how to win without Zion for 5 years now, largely. So I'm not blaming the kid for having a hamstring injury. It sucks. As a fan, it sucks. I'm sure it sucks for him and for all these players. You go play 82 games. You're in this 2-game play-in now, trying to fight for your season. And the guy that's supposed to be your franchise tweaks his hamstring with 3 minutes to go, and you're not going to have him on Friday or likely for the first-round series, even if you make it. So I don't have a lot of great stuff to say. I'm bummed about the whole thing, and I don't even know what's next. Everybody's blaming Willie Green, and I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all if you're blaming Willie Green. This team continues to not have a point guard. They continue to not have a clue late in games, and the fact that they haven't figured out how to get over the hump tells you there's got to be something different. Maybe you can blame it on Jonas, and everyone's surprised they didn't move Jonas at the trade deadline. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm going to build an NBA roster, but what I can tell you is that the fact that we've seen no progression with this franchise over the last 2 full seasons is devastating. Yeah, I mean, you were a game away from winning 50 for the second time in franchise history, and where has it gotten you? You're fighting for your life on Friday at home against Sacramento because you can't beat the friggin' San Antonio Spurs on your home floor. You gag away games against Houston. Like, you can't beat Orlando with everything on the line. Like, that's the problem with this franchise. When you actually have to rise up and make a play, make a shot, win a game, you can't do it. Unfortunately, Sunday, you saw what that looks like when LeBron came in here and went off for a triple-double. And I get it. He's one of the greatest of all time. But that's what it looks like, even from a 39-year-old man, and you got none of that in this organization right now. It sucks. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.